Hey guys, do I have something in my teeth? No, okay. So professional. I really wanted to talk about something that's been really prominent in my life, and maybe it's helpful insight for other people. I just know what I've learned through my experiences, and I don't claim to have the answers at all. We all are learning different things, and so our truths are different. Reality pans out in different ways for all of us, and so our perception of the world is different no matter what. So no matter what I say, your perception is your perception. Disclaimer, over. So I kind of I thought of, this, I coined this, this title of when the occult becomes a cult, because I think that's pretty common. It's really easy for it to cross over like that, to where you're super interested in learning about the occult and these hidden things and the spiritual realm and all the new age shit that goes along with that. But there's a certain point when the occult becomes a cult, and you start worshiping these things, and you start worshiping these external things, when in actuality they're still just a part of the 3D world and the 3D reality. And so it's you're not getting closer to connectedness and peace, because you're still gripping onto these three-dimensional truths and perceptions and attachments. And so when I talk of the occult, I'm talking about when we start to get really into esoteric knowledge or whatever, reading philosophy books, reading books on religion. We all kind of, that's when we're first getting into this stuff, that's kind of where most people start, is by reading, Thich Nhat Hanh, Pema Chodron, Deepak Chopra, who's the other guy? Gandhi, whatever, Alan Watts, Sigmund Freud, fucking Carl Jung, all these things. That's where we start. And then, the more new age things are, tarot cards, astrology, you know what new age stuff is, magic and stuff like that, manifesting, law of attraction, yoga, all this stuff. It's it has its own, it's its own clique, it's once you start, once you're drawn to the truth, and you're drawn to deeper meaning in the world, and you're drawn to this concept of there is something that exists outside of our three-dimensional reality, and there is life after death. Once you have that moment of I believe that, that's when we start to get into these things. And it's you're walking into this party, and it's you're at this party, and it's everybody thinks the same, looks the same, does the same things, and so you're and they're all doing what you want to, these things that you're interested in, and so you're okay, cool, this is the party, they're doing all the things I I'm interested in doing. They're okay, so this is how I dress. Okay, and so this is how I talk. Okay, and then this is how I blah, 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 and this is what I do, this is what I do, this is like that's kind of how it is. It's like becoming like a spiritual person is like being initiated into a fucking fraternity or something at this point. Like, you have to, it's an unspoken thing. Look at me with my fucking legs open like a little whore. JK. Don't, call the PC police. I'm just kidding, but yeah, it's like, it's definitely like that now. And it's almost like if you don't do these things, you can't be a spiritual person. And that's just not true, because all of those things are still attachments. Like, you're attached to a perception, first of all, that you have to look and do and talk and blah, 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 all these things to be a spiritual person. And that's not true. Being a spiritual person is plain and simple being connected to a higher power, being connected to your soul, and doing good. Like, I could get into like a lot of different philosophies and my own personal philosophies, but I'm always learning, so it's hard sometimes to even like say those things or express like my stance on things, because it's like it could change in a week, but at the end of the day, spirituality is about being connected to your spirit. And when you're connected to your spirit, you realize that you must be connected to everybody else, because we're all a manifestation of the divine. We're all a manifestation. It's like, I think of like a tree, and we're all these branches stemming from this tree, but we're all from the same roots. And every branch looks different on a tree, right? Like, but we all come from the same roots, the same source. And so once you are on a spiritual path, really the only thing that makes you spiritual, and honestly, we're all spiritual at the end of the day, but when you get onto this path of really coming into your spirit and trying to live a holy and spiritual and divinely guided life, all it is about is getting in touch with the center, and then putting that out to others. And kindness is a thing where kindness and being nice are two different things. Like, nice, it's got some kind of like, an element of like pleasing others and like trying to prove something. And kindness is just grace. And so that's why I say like getting in touch with the center is really the most important, because once you make peace with yourself, like, it's so easy to be kind to other people. And I'm still on this journey. Like, I think I've even, I feel like I've had parts of my life where I was like doing a better job, like definitely 100%. I'm not even gonna say kind of, I know I was, because moving to the city a year ago, like, I got so jaded and I got so like insecure, and it's sorry y'all, I got interrupted. It's taking a long time to get back to, my unguarded and like fully authentic self. So, I'm still learning this myself, but when we haven't gotten in touch with our center and like really made peace with ourselves, things like jealousy and competition and insecurity and fear of rejection and like judgments, all of these things that are so human, those get in the way of us being truly authentically kind to everyone we meet. But that is spirituality to me. And so it's like, for me, like, I don't want to bring negativity into this, but I have been in around people that walk and talk like a duck, or they talk like a duck, they walk like a duck, but they're not a duck. I think no, I don't know if that's the saying, but I have been around people who, dress like hippies and, put like Buddha quotes up on their shit and 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 yet they're not kind to other people, and they're not accepting and welcoming, and their energy, it's energy. They don't have that open, warm, loving energy that a person who is truly connected to their center and their spirit would have. And so it's so obviously not about that. And so that's kind of like one of the points I wanted to make. The other point I wanted to make is that, we can get really attached to these like new age things and these ideas. And it's just, it turns into like just following a religion, right? And that's kind of what, spirituality, and personally, I'm really into philosophy, and philosophy is not always connected to spirituality. A lot of philosophers were spiritual, because, people are interested in those things. They're just interested in the deeper meanings of things, and most of the time, deeper meaning comes back to, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and so, there's got to be a higher power, blah, 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 blah. But I personally, I align more with Hindu philosophy and religion, in the sense that I don't really believe in like a creator. I believe that we are the universe, we are existence, and the universe is alive. The universe is, is awareness and intelligence, and it doesn't make sense. I can't explain it. Nobody can explain it, and that's why it's called the Great Mystery. But it, I don't think of something outside of me, but more so just consciousness. And, I go back and forth believing in like angels and spirit guides as, just higher levels of consciousness, like energies of a higher level of consciousness. But I haven't fully made up my opinion on that. But, it's like, sorry, I was talking about Hinduism. So in Hinduism, it's like they believe that in I am, in Om, and that is the universe, that is existence, and we are all existence. That is it. That's us. This is that, and it's just a form of reality that we've been born into, but we are consciousness, and so it's always about just coming back to consciousness and not thinking, not being in the mind, and being, just being awareness. That's Hindu philosophy. And so with the more new age spirituality, it's, this free for all, but it feels like a religion sometimes, because it's like, it's what, there's with tarot, astrology, these are all things that people in the new age community support, believe in, or like, fuck with, vibe with, and so my thing, with astrology, for one, this is something that, if you knew me, you'd be like, the fuck are you talking about, Sydney? Like, you talk about astrology all the time. Like, you generalize all the time. And yes, like, I am working on this because it's like a habit to me. Because I got so into it, it's a habit that I'm trying to break. Because once you get into astrology, it's like, it's it's meaningless. Like, and I don't want to say that because, you know, people have careers based on this stuff, and I do believe that it can be helpful, you know, but I really only believe that astrology is truly helpful when, you know, astrologers break down a birth chart and like tell people about these transits and these aspects and, you know, offer them some way to overcome. You know, I think that can be like helpful in the way therapy would be helpful. But I think when we talk about astrology just like out in society, that's when it's just like, that's when it just becomes really futile and just like redundant, because at the end of the day, we're just labeling ourselves. We're just like putting ourselves in these boxes. And why would you want to believe that to be true about yourself and about life, you know? Like, why do you want to believe that you're so easily, you know, described in this, you know, whatever, just like, I don't know, do they say blanket term, umbrella term? You know, just like that you're like, oh, you're this zodiac sign, so you're this. There's 7 billion people in the world, and there's blah 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 amount of people of each zodiac sign, but this is what you're gonna be like because you're, you know, and this is what they're gonna be like because of that. It's just so stupid, because then we have personality types, Myers-Briggs. Like, I read a book today on what chakra type are you, you know, and it was just like, I liked it, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're not doing ourselves any favors by putting ourselves in these boxes. And I'll just say, for me personally, like, I have really let astrology get to me because I'm a Capricorn, and, you know, like, the only things you read about Capricorns is like, they're boring, they're too serious, and they work and they make money and they blah 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 blah. And like, it's just, I was like, I never thought of myself in that way, you know? And then once I started to get really into astrology, I was like, oh my god, like, I'm boring, I'm so serious, oh my god, like, I don't know how to have like an intellectual conversation, I don't know how to have small talk, like, I'm so awkward, nah. And it's like, wait, what? Like, since when has that ever been you? Like, you were the one that would go and like talk to everybody at a bar, you know, like, and it was simply because I read this and I'm like, oh, that has to be true. And it's the same way, like, you hear people being like, I would never date a fucking Gemini because Geminis are cheaters. And it's just like, who does that do favors for? And how is that in any way aligned with, like, with spirituality? Because you should be seeing everybody as, you know, like, a beautiful, like, expression of the divine. And so, you know, that shit just doesn't do anything. And me personally, I believe that, you know, we're infinite. You know, if we're an expression of the divine, then we can be whoever we want to be. I'm saying it in quotes because, you know, at the end of the day, we are just existence. We're not any of these, like, I'm wearing a blue shirt and I have blonde hair and, you know, I am existence at the end of the day. So, you know, when we do these things, it's just like, no, like, you are whoever you decide to wake up and be today. If you read your fucking zodiac sign and you're like, well, I'm a Taurus, so I'm lazy and blah, 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 like, then that's what you're gonna wake up and be. But no, like, you are whoever you want to be. When you wake up, you can do whatever you want. Like, the opportunities in this world are endless, okay? And, like, so that's when I think that gets a little out of hand. And, like, you know, tarot, like, come on, let's be honest. Like, I love tarot. I do tarot. I fucking watch tarot videos. But shouldn't we be living in the moment and not looking at predictions on the internet? Not looking for predictions using our own cards, you know? So that's where New Age gets to me, because it really doesn't make much sense. And then I have, like, this is obviously a rant. I have so many thoughts on this. And then there are also people who are spiritual, like woke people, who mansplain everyone. You know, like, we've all met that person who they want to just tell you all the things they've read about this book and this book, about this religion and this religion, about this conspiracy and this blah, 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 and they know so much. The fact of the matter is, you know nothing. And that should always be how you truly feel. I have a friend whose partner is like I just described, and he jokingly says, "Oh, but I know nothing." But he doesn't actually believe that he knows nothing. He thinks he knows everything, you know? And he's a very, like, spiritual person. And so that's where it's like, I think there's a lot of that, especially in the New Age community, where it's like, oh, well, haven't you read the 4 Agreements? And fuck, like, you should. I mean, it's a really good book, you know? But, like, oh, well, and this, like, this is why, like, oh, do animals have souls? Well, I believe that animals have souls because if there's a, you know, like, we can talk all day, but your knowledge on the divine doesn't mean shit, because at the end of the day, like, this just is what it is. And, like, again, back to Hindu philosophy, they are always about just coming back to peace, quieting the mind, quieting all the opinions, and just coming back here. And that is spirituality to them, is that oneness with the self, or with the soul, with existence. And it's not about the knowledge, you know. You can be the most truly spiritual man or woman is the one who doesn't know everything, but who is connected to their spirit, you know, and can go on a walk in silence with a clear mind, you know. And so you can be a know-it-all all day, and you can read all the books, and you can do all the New Age things, and you can go to all the cool, like, retreats and stuff like that, but that's not bringing you back to your center. That's not bringing you closer to spirit. That's just fluff, you know. And so that's what, you know, I think that's when the occult becomes a cult, because people really do just start to, like, follow these people. That's another thing. Abraham Hicks, like, fucking Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Oprah, like, Chopra and Oprah. Like, there is no guru. There is no guru. There is no guru. You are the guru. You are your own lighthouse. You are your own North Star. Like, you already know. You already know everything. And when you hear other people say it, it's just a reminder, because you already know it, you know? So I think that, you know, people can have their own beliefs, you know? That's what I'm saying. It's like, because like I said, you know, I believe in Hinduism, and I'm really drawn to Hindu philosophy. And I don't even know what other people, you know, totally believe. Like, I don't know what the New Age spirituality is. It's like, it's just spirituality, maybe agnosticism, like higher power. But I think it's, like, gotten to a point where people don't even know. People don't even know what they believe. They just, like, are lazily, you know, but I think it comes with these, you know, tricky areas, and, you know, sometimes it can, like, hinder us more than help us. Another thing, I made a video on this before, is the twin flame soulmate philosophy. That's something that I'm really like passionate about speaking on, because I think that, like, I believed at one point I had a twin flame, and I know this person was a soulmate, like a deep soulmate. One of my friends, she's a clairvoyant reader, intuitive reader, and she looked into my past lives for me, and she was, speaking of my like husband who had a child within like one of my past lives, and she's like, I feel like this guy's in your present lifetime. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's my last partner. But I no longer believe that they're a twin flame. I don't believe in that dynamic, or that whatever, that label. I believe in soulmates, of course, but I believe that we have so many, and it's just about, like, meeting someone who, you teach each other lessons. So in whatever way that comes about, you're teaching lessons. But I don't believe that soulmates are supposed to stay in your life. And I think that there's a lot of people waiting for other people because they think that it's a soulmate or it's a twin flame, and they're disregarding and pushing away other opportunities for themselves, and really wasting a lot of their time, because eventually they're going to realize that that's not it. But how much time is going to go by? I've seen people in comments on videos being like, 7 years I've been waiting, or like, he says he's going to leave his wife. Like, no, you're just fucking messing around. You're just a mistress, and you're messing around with a fucking cheating man, like, you need to realize that the only thing that is really not even required, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to be in touch with your center and your spirit, and work on always staying in alignment with that, and with your, with the gentle part of yourself, and not trying to control things, not trying to make things yours and manipulate the energies of the universe, and accepting that things are the way they are right now. And this is easier said than done. I'm the fucking, I'm just speaking, and it helps me as well, to get it out there. And things are the way they are right now. If someone was meant to be in your life, they would be in your life. You should never have to like beg someone or pull or push or anything like that. If someone's meant to be in your life, they will, and it's not going to be hard. It's going to be easy. And yes, of course, relationships are not always la-di-da, but it's going to be okay, or it's going to be easy to get through the hard times, because things are, for the majority, good and uplifting and empowering and bringing you closer to your spirit. That's how a relationship should be. It should continually bring you closer to your spirit and closer to a place of love, And so all this twin flames, like, push-pull shit, like, it's not in alignment with your truth. And I think that that, yeah, I mean, it's just really sad. I feel like there's a lot of like confusion in the spiritual community because of all this. And I really do feel that the truth really just comes back to, aligning with your spirit, with kindness, with love, with patience, with peace, and really trying to go with the present moment, and have the patience to not make impulsive decisions. That's like a big lesson for me. And do things that are in alignment with your higher self, and but surrendering to the moment, and not pushing, not pulling, not resisting, nothing, like just accepting how things are, and knowing that what's meant for you will be in your life, and you won't have to fight, you won't have to beg, it'll all come together. So those are my thoughts. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope this, helped someone, or like made someone like, oh, that's an interesting way to think about that. I might think about it that way next time. And yeah, love you guys. Have a good one.